This is Judge Joe Brown, and we're listening to We All Be News, news-free Dixie for the 21st century.
Welcome, Black family, to another wonderful edutainment edition of The Artivist Thinks. Right now, we're dealing with a special Artivist Thinks. It's very unfortunate, but I feel like it's been weighing heavily on my heart since I heard of the unfortunate news of the Mother Emanuel A.M.E. church shooting, which happened last night, Wednesday night, June the 17th, 2015. That was the Mother Emanuel A.M.E. church shooting, or I call it the Massacre, that happened in Charleston, South Carolina, Wednesday night during Bible study, June the 17th, 2015. The reason why I want to talk to you all right quick, because I want to get this narrative out there that needs to be heard. It needs to be amplified. I want y'all to have a great understanding of what just went down. It was a massacre to cover up an assassination. I repeat, what happened at Mother Emanuel A.M.E. Church in Charleston was a shooting using a massacre to cover up an assassination. The reason why I said this is this because the news said they could not release the names of the 9 victims of that unfortunate incident. But the news did release the name of one of the most prominent victims of that unfortunate incident. The man who led that church, the late Reverend Clementa Pinckney. It was interesting because the police chief and everybody said they couldn't release the names of the 9 victims, but yet they released the names, or released the name of Reverend Clementa Pinckney, who led that church congregation. Now, Reverend Pinckney is not no ordinary minister. He was also a state senator in the South Carolina legislature. So he was a state senator, but before that he was elected as a state rep back in 1996. Very well-read brother, a very true scholar practitioner, very well educated, very much a man of the people. He also was very much involved in the community. He was one of the ministers that was leading the rallies and the protests against the Walter Scott shooting in North Charleston. So he was a very vocal man in the community, and also he was very involved in the political machinations of South Carolina politics. And he was a respected voice. He was like, when they killed Reverend Clementa Pinckney, they killed South Carolina's MLK and Reverend Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Once again, I repeat, when they killed Reverend Clementa Pinckney, when they assassinated the brother, they killed South Carolina's MLK and Reverend Adam Clayton Powell Jr. all in one. And I want to bring this up as well, because what people don't know as well, because white supremacy love history and numerology and astrology and things of that nature. We got to look at this from not only a assassination point of view, but also a historical point of view. Now, June marks the anniversary month of the Pinckney insurrection that took place in Charleston, South Carolina, back in June of 1822. Once again, let me repeat: June marks the anniversary month of the alleged Pinckney uprising in Charleston, South Carolina, which took place in June of 1822. They killed or hanged Pinckney, I believe, on July 2nd, 1822. Okay, think about that. Pinckney was a founding father of the A.M.E. Church in South Carolina, in Charleston. Once again, let me repeat: Pinckney was a founding member or father of the A.M.E. Church in Charleston, South Carolina. The shooting happened where? In Charleston, South Carolina. What was the name of the church? Mother Emanuel A.M.E. Church. Stop putting these pieces together, people. See, white supremacy loves to attack black folks at their strongest points. White supremacy loves to attack black folks using churches in the month of June. Let me help you understand. June 21st will mark the 51st anniversary of the lynchings, the assassinations of the 3 civil rights workers down in Mississippi, Michael Swerner, James Chaney, and Andrew Goodman. How were they able to get assassinated by the sheriff's department and the Klan, you say? Well, the Klan burned down Mount Zion Methodist Church in Neshoba County. The reason why the Klan and the sheriff department down in Neshoba County was able to catch these guys was because they was investigating the burning of Mount Zion Methodist Church down in Neshoba County on Father's Day, June 21st, 1964. June 30th, 1974, Alberta King, also known as Mother King, who was the matriarch of the King family. Yes, she was Dr. Martin Luther King's Jr. mom, Brother A.D. King mom. She was assassinated in Ebenezer Baptist Church in her Oregon by a black man named Maurice Chenault, June 30th, 1974. That's when that happened, y'all. So y'all seeing the patterns? Y'all understanding what I'm saying? The gist of things that's going on? White supremacy attacks black people at their strongest points, not their weakest points. Baba Dick Gregory always said the 2 strongest forces known to America, ever known to America, was the black woman and the black church. And they are both under attack at the same time. Think about the McKinney, Texas pool party raid. Eric Caseboat attacked a young black woman. Now, think about what happened in Ferguson when they burned down the church. Think about what happened 20-something years ago when they were burning down churches in the 90s, when churches was catching on fire. Black churches were catching on fire in the South in the 90s. Think about the 4 little girls at 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama. You see the patterns? You see it? There are no such things as a coincidence and a conspiracy. We are living in a system that thrives off conspiracy, that thrives off treachery, that thrives off this type of hell. And folks, we're not even in the summertime officially yet. June is a month of terror for black folks, just like the month of April. June 20th, 2015, will mark the 75th anniversary of the killing or the lynching of Brother Albert Williams. Brother Albert Williams was the first NAACP officer killed in United States history. He was lynched in Brownsville, Tennessee, June 20th, 1940. He was taken from his home by the sheriff of that county, and he was lynched by a mob of white men. And he was thrown in the river, the Hatchie River. His body was recovered 3 days later, after June 20th, on June 23rd. They didn't even have an autopsy. They buried him the same day in an unmarked grave. His wife, Sister Annie Williams, was so terrified that she left that day to New York City, never to return. And to this day, nobody has any idea where his body is buried. To add further insult to injury, he never had a proper burial. There were no memorial services for Brother Albert Williams, and he was just 31 years old. His crime? Trying to register black folks in Brownsville, in that county, to vote in Haywood County. This is in Tennessee. This is less than 70 miles away from Memphis, Tennessee. Albert Williams, 31 years old, the first martyr of the NAACP. This is 23 years before Medgar Evers in 1963. Albert Williams, lynch, June 20th, 1940. Swerner Cheney Goodman, lynch, June 21st, 1964. Digmar Vesey, tried to lead an insurrection, allegedly, June 1822. Founder of the A.M.E. Church in Charleston, South Carolina. The start of the Civil War, Charleston, South Carolina, April 12, 1861. Remember I told y'all about that? Sometimes in April, right? Walter Scott shooting. When did it happen? April 4th. The same death dates of Dr. King and Reverend Adam Clayton Powell Jr. April 4th, 1968. April 4th, 1972. April 4th, 2015. South Carolina, one of the original 13 colonies of this republic, of this corporation known as the United States of America. The Bank of America headquarters, located in Charlotte, North Carolina. Their corporate headquarters. 40% of enslaved Africans came through Charleston Harbor. That's in Charleston, South Carolina. Who they say shoot the brother? Brother Reverend Clementa Pinckney. They said it was a young white man in his early 20s with blonde hair, right? Slim, slender. I wouldn't be surprised that this guy had a military background. Think about Timothy McVeigh. Think about the DC sniper. A lot of these so-called domestic terrorists had military backgrounds, training. Think about this, people. I just want y'all to start connecting the dots. Don't be afraid to connect the dots. Don't be afraid to see the world in magic glasses, okay? Like I said, white supremacy attacks black people at our strongest point. And one of our strongest points of institutions, people question it in the current age and condition was the black church. Think about the phenomenal people that were produced by the black church. Think about Harriet Tubman, Nat Turner. These folks were A.M.E. ministers or preachers. Think about Denmark Vesey, who started the A.M.E. church in Charleston, one of the founding members or fathers. Think about Bishop Henry McNeil Turner out of Georgia, who advocated that black folks believe in a black God and practice self-defense. Think about Brother Highland Garnett, Henry Highland Garnett, the brother, very radical brother, very impassioned brother, who advocated that black folks get their liberations by any means necessary, more than a century before Brother Malcolm X came on the scene. Think about even John Brown, a white radical, a white revolutionary, who hanged around black folks in the black church, who no doubt had to be inspired by our brand of liberation theology, who heard Reverend Garnett and Douglas go back and forth on the issue of the abolition of slavery. Think about all these things, people. I'm telling you, think about the music point of view. Think about John Coltrane. John Coltrane came from Hamlet, North Carolina. Both of his grandfathers were A.M.E. ministers. That's the power of black church. Because black church back at the end of the day meant black power. We could not even have a civil rights movement without the black church. It was a safe place, a gathering place for people where they could get their dignity and self-respect, where they can create a world in their liking, in their image, where they can worship without scrutiny and peace. So this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the black church. Not what we see today, but back in the day, rather. So either Ida B. Wells Barnett, you think about all the people that came through the black church, that contribute to black society, that contribute to our civil rights and our human rights and our liberation. And now, the powers that be are declaring war on the black church. It is more than just a spiritual war, y'all. They are declaring war on black church. They are declaring war on the black church. So, Sam Cooke out the black church. Aretha Franklin. Think about all the folks we benefited that had ties to the black church. So, family, let this be a wake-up call. It's not even the summertime yet, officially. But it's already going to be hot as hell. It's going to be a hellish summer. So get Hope for the best and prepare for the worst. You know, April 12th is a significant number in white supremacist history as well, black history as well too. Like I said, April 12th was the start of the Civil War in Charleston, South Carolina. April 12th, 1864 was the Battle of Fort Pillow Massacre, where General Nathan Bedford Forrest, a Confederate general, their favorite, one of their #1 crackers, and also the first Grand Wizard of the KKK, where he basically lynched and annihilated surrendered black soldiers at the fort. He basically did a lot of horrible things on April 12th, 1864. Then you fast forward to April 12th, 2015. The crucifixion, I call it, of Freddie Gray. How they manhandled brother Freddie Gray, that they severed his neck almost completely from his spine. That happened April 12th, 2015. So you got April 12th, 1861, the start of the Civil War. April 12th, 1864, the Battle of Fort Pillow Massacre. And April 12th, 2015, the crucifixion of brother Freddie Gray in B-More. So this is why you should know your history, black people, and connect the dots. Very important stuff that we need to learn about. So, what else can I say that comes to mind? I think I said a lot of stuff. Hopefully y'all can just go through. But yeah, watch how the story developed with the A.M.E. church shooting, the Mother Emanuel A.M.E. church shooting in Charleston. They said that 9 folks were killed. It could be more people that end up becoming casualties. We don't know it, but it's funny they said they couldn't release names, but his name, Reverend Clementa Pinckney, was released. They have not caught the shooter yet. It'll be interesting to see if they allow the shooter to make it to the court for his court date. I also wondering, is this guy under some type of mind control, the shooter? Is it MK Ultra style Manchurian candidate? So we don't know. There's a lot of things we don't know. He could be the lone shooter with many planners. Think about it. Lone shooter with many planners. Just because you pull the trigger don't make you the mastermind. So I want people to start really think about that. Think about the patterns. Think about previous assassinations of people like Medgar Evers. Like, how was Beckwith, Byron De La Beckwith, how was he able to hide like a sniper in a black community? I went to Medgar Evers' home, and you never know that horrible stuff happened on June 12th, 1963, because it's a quiet black neighborhood still. So how can this white dude hide like that among black people? What I want to tell people is always an inside job. Since the days of Jesus, all right? It's always an inside job. You should always think like that. It's because America trains her terrorists, creates her enemies. West Point. Where did the generals from the Civil War go to? They went to West Point. The guy who planned Pearl Harbor, where he go to school? He went to Harvard. Who taught him how to fly planes? America did. This is Emerald Yamamoto. Even Ho Chi Minh, the leader of the Viet Cong, he used to come over here to America, hang out in Chicago and Harlem, listen to Marcus Garvey. Speak about liberation and black pride and knowledge of self and do for self. So you got to think about it. This is America. So, this is what we're getting at here. This is why I want people to understand that there's something going on real big that's happening. There's a paradigm shift. There is something coming into play. This might be the Fourth Reich. People need to research Operation Northwoods, Operation Lantern Spike, false flags, crisis act, and all this stuff need to be looked at with with some scrutiny. And all I want to do is encourage everybody out there to critically think and do for self and know for self and share what you know. And so I want to thank everybody who took the time to listen to this video. Please feel free to subscribe, to share this video with who you love and also who you don't know, because this conversation needs to keep going beyond this video. And if you like what you heard, if you feel like it empower or inspire you, feel free to donate to the We All Be movement. In the words of the great Duke Ellington, we love you madly. And also keep on producing and pushing and thinking. Peace.